I hate when the host says welcome to another edition or whatever. So you know what it is. So we're here. Mike O'Donnell is with us. I'll say hello, but we've been talking. It's not like he just turned it on. I hate all that. I hate all the fakeness of a podcast where you have to be like, hello, and look, it's Mike. Like we just talked for fucking 7 minutes, whatever.
Hey, glad to be here. First time, long time.
Waka waka. It's fucking great. For those of you who haven't watched before, I have comedians on. We talk about jokes we're working on, and then we just ends up being in other stuff too. I was also complaining because I don't believe Italians are good actors, but that's that's not a bit, that's real. But if you believe in that, like click the subscribe button and whatever people say.
Comment WAP underneath.
Yeah, you hate Italians like I do. Yeah, punch your wife in the air, whatever it is that you do. But do you have any shows this weekend?
I have a show this Wednesday. We do the improv show, Shit in a Hat. And then this Saturday, I'm at Scorpion Brewing in Maryland.
How much time are you doing on that show?
I think 15 to 20.
When you do 15-minute sets, do you throw in new shit or do you try to do your regular shit?
I try every once in a while. I might throw in like something I've been working on. But a lot of the times it's like stick to what I'm doing because like the shit lately I've been working on is just like, it's just dark. I want laughs.
So if you write something new that isn't as dark, it almost doesn't make sense.
Yeah. If I throw in something that they're like, where the fuck did that come from? That's a weird transition.
That's why I like hosting showcases. Even people say to me like, well, wouldn't you rather headline? I go, not when I'm working on new shit, because when I'm hosting a showcase, I can do my time up front I want to do. And then in between, I can just work on anything because there's a segue is another human. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like doing that with the open mic. Is if someone mentions something, I'm like, oh, I'm kind of working on something similar to that. I can throw that in at the end and be like, if it doesn't work, all right, hey, your next comic, come to the stage.
You ever a comic get mad at you for that? Like, don't bite off my bit. I've had morons say that to me, and I'm like,
I haven't had someone complain about biting off because usually my shit's funnier than what they say.
That's why they complain.
They'll go, can I have that? I'm like, I'm never gonna use it. Go ahead, as a throwaway.
Because there was a comic. Yeah, he said he didn't mind, but I heard him complaining after. But there was a comic on a thing a couple weeks ago where he went up and he's a younger kid and he did a joke that everyone's done. He's like, and I thought I was Italian, but I found out I wasn't. So I had to stop punching my girlfriend. And
that's my joke.
Yeah, I mean that's everyone, but it's like, they're getting some laughs, whatever. And then like when I walked up on stage, I go, guys, I saw a lady getting mad. It's jokes. He definitely still punches his girlfriend. And like so, and then that got a laugh. And he just goes, did you like say something afterwards? I go, yeah, I made it funny. So if you want to use that, I'm not going to be talking about your girlfriend, so you can have it. Like that would be a funnier ending to go, hey, it's just jokes, kind of apologize, and then keep hitting her.
Yeah,
that's what I would do.
A little misdirect, if you would.
Because when I have new stuff, I get too excited to hold off on it to the point where I now literally start shows with something brand new. Because I believe in myself enough to know I can get through it, but I also just want to fucking get it out there so it doesn't sit in my head.
Yeah.
Well, I can be doing 45 minutes and I'll walk out with a thing that's just not prepared, not ready, not make any sense. And sometimes it will hit, sometimes it won't. But if it doesn't, I don't care. I'll be able to play it off and get it going. I just want to say it out loud so I can start working on it.
Yeah, I have that. My thing is if it doesn't land though, I fucking panic and I go right back into like, all right, hey, here's this joke.
I get excited that I had a buddy, he's a comic out of Rhode Island named Derek Furtado, and he would always talk about me and say his favorite thing to watch me. He goes, most comics, if they go on stage and something doesn't work and they dig a little hole, they have trouble digging their way out. Good comics can dig their way out of the hole. He goes, Pat, you're the only fucking comic I know who digs their way out of the hole and then just jumps into a new fucking hole. Like every fucking time, like it's your whole act. Just like, watch this. Like, I can get out of this shit. And just, but that's why I don't know. I enjoy that thrill ride. Like, well, I don't on purpose make it so they don't like it, but I would rather take risks so I get better because I just don't care about their reaction right now.
Yeah, it's definitely fun to be like, can I get out of this?
Right.
But then when you can't get out of it, it's like, shit.
But then also like watch and also while I'm doing it, figure out why am I even in this? Like what was wrong with what I said? Is it them for being dumb?
Why were they so mad about that shooting?
Yeah. Like, well, okay. So like the other day I did a joke where I've been working on a newer thing where I talked about, I had dating jokes. I didn't want to have dating jokes. So they were jokes that really weren't dating. So I framed them into a dating thing. And so it made sense, but the jokes really aren't about. They're just other horrible stories I have that I've turned into dates type deal. But one was, I said one word and the lady, people got upset and I watched her get mad. And then when I was done saying the one trigger word and the joke happened, the laughs were so hard. She goes, "Oh, it's fine now." And the word was stillborn. So it's like at the end, she goes, "It's fine now." I go, "It was never fine. It's a dead baby." And like the crowd laughed at that.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't think you've listened. But I just go, "But you're being dumb because that's not your dead baby. Your babies are alive, I hope, or whatever." I mean, it's like, so I just keep going, even though like, all right, Pat, you did it. You don't have to keep addressing this woman. It's like, no, fuck this woman for being mad at the beginning. I'm an artist. Some artists work with paint and clay. I work with stillborn babies. Children. Yeah, I can do this. Because that's it. And I make it goofy because I had a story. I dated a girl who did when I first started dating.
I know it.
All right.
Tattoos? Yeah.
Yes. But then I also tied in an older joke I tried to do. When I do the beginning of the story, I say, "Hey, don't get me wrong. It's not like I didn't know what it meant, but I'm not bright." So it's like the first time I learned it was not until a couple of years ago, where I was at a bar one time and a woman said to me, "Hey, do you have any kids?" And I said, "Dude, do you have kids?" She goes, "I had a stillborn child." And I high-fived her and I was like, "Awesome." And so the crowd gets like all upset. And I'm like, and she's like, "What?" I go, "That's great. It was born. It still is. You did it. That's parenting. Good job." She goes, "That's not what it means. It means that it's not it was born. I'm not alive." I go, "Oh, you're confusing that with dead baby. You have a dead baby." That's what that is. I go, "Those are great on planes, by the way." And they go, then I just go back into the joke. So now because I do that, because that's so ridiculous and silly that they allow me to tell a stillborn baby story, because I'm saying I'm an idiot. You know what I mean? I had to like frame it in a dumb way. And I somehow make her the villain in the end, which I don't know how that worked, but they're all like cheering for me, like, "Yeah,
fuck that lady."
Yeah, well, you can, because her babies won't live. So you're fine. But see, that's what I think. It's when someone says to me, "Oh, should I not be dirty or clean?" You can be whatever you want as long as it's clever and funny and you've worked on it to become something. If you're just going to talk about dead babies, like it's a speech or a TED talk, but like, then it's not good. But if you find a way to craft, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're going to do it, work on it and make it so it's worth doing. I don't think there's a topic you can't talk about, but I think you have to at least be nice enough for the people to go for the ride to make it worth their while.
Yeah. I always thought that if it's funny, it's funny. Like it's a knee-jerk reaction. Like they'll laugh.
Right. But there's literally a knee-jerk reaction to me and then being clever enough where they're like, "Oh," you know what I mean? Like I actually appreciate he made that joke about that thing that I usually try to stay away from, instead of somebody just yelling, something crazy and they laugh. It's a reaction laugh, but I'd rather have that resonating laugh. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You almost want someone, if you're going to take the risk, you want it when someone goes, "There's nothing funny about abortion." For they go, "Have you heard Pat's joke?" Like, I hate to say, you didn't say that way, but like literally, like I have one now too, and that's fun. But that's not even a joke. That literally was, I was trying to find a silly way to do it. So I say a woman asked me what my stance is on abortion. And I went, that's literally what I do on stage. And a guy yelled out one time, "Are you the baby?" And I laughed so hard. I thought it was me like defending from the question, but he thought I was acting out as the baby. So I now mention that as the tag, which is even better. Like I go, they say it's like 2 weeks is fingernails and 3 weeks the reflex is the block of coat hanger. It's like, it's nice and it sounds stupid and whatever. But now when you make it so it can be funny and it doesn't matter what it says, it's not about the abortion. It's about the dumbness of asking the question. Like, you're just some fucking lady who wants to go on a date. Why do you need my stance on abortion? Why do you need to know if I know what the words gender fluid mean? Like, that's all the bit I'm working on now, is for all those words where I give asshole answers. Because like, why are you interviewing me? Fucking lady, it's a date. When's that going to come up? You know what I mean? Like, so I was asked these things on dating apps. So now I'm doing that and people are laughing going, "Yeah, you're right. Dating apps are nuts." Instead of saying, "Oh my God, dude, abortions," or "Oh my God, this," it's like, so when you work on it hard enough and craft it into a thing, it's worth it. I just think too many comics just go, "Oh, there's a school shooting, so let me just say that's crazy," and maybe say like there should be a John Wick or a retard version or something, and then let it go. Which, by the way, we did on our podcast, but we wouldn't do that on stage. But you know what I mean? Like, you doing the open mic all the time or doing the shit in the hat. I mean, that's harder because people are just pulling topics out and going off the cuff. But like at the same time, people will try to take chances on things that you're like, is that worth it? They think it's funny, but it's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some of them aren't good enough to do it.
Oh yeah, you find that out real quick when they're
Right.
like,
People don't know
it's
the shit in
it,
the hat thing is
and
what
I'm
kind of
sure
we do
you.
the podcast. That's what I like. It's like we're not giving a topic, but you're trying something new. So like they give you guys topics,
Yeah.
whatever, and then you can just come out and try to freestyle off that. Now, I'm sure some people have some bits that are around it, so they kind of go to it. I'm sure no one's doing everything 100%
Oh
improv.
yeah. Some people luck up or luck out, and they're like, oh, I have something for that.
Right.
And
Or
I
at
told him, I
least
was
an
like, if you
idea.
have a joke for that, go ahead, dude. Fair game, because it's
See,
all
I would
random
call them the
choice.
fuck out. If someone had like they all they had was family jokes that said kids, and I'm like, no, you can't do any of your fucking written shit, bro. Like do some new shit.
Ah man, I'm like, make sure the crowd stays, dude.
Okay.
If you got a joke, do it. Fucking, I don't care.
I appreciate people that can do that, but that to me, that's how I write jokes. And okay, so first of all, how do you write jokes? Are you someone that writes in a notebook constantly? What do you do?
Not constantly. A lot of my jokes are, if I say something in like passing like conversation, I go, oh, that's funny. I'll write down like just like the cliff notes of it in my like phone, and then I'll try and sit and write it down. But when I try and like force like writing, I can't do it. Like nothing
In
happens.
here, I can't do it until I've said it out loud on stage. Then I can write. So like same thing as you. I'll have an idea, something will pop in my head, but I have to go on a stage and then audio record it. I'll just work it out on stage. Even if it's not a joke yet, I'll just work out the idea. I'll just say exactly what happened. I'll try to make it funny, do whatever I can just to give it a little bit of a framing. And then once I've done that, I go home and listen to the recording, and then I can write off the recording. But until I work it out of my head, I can't write it. I can't just sit there and write it down because it doesn't make sense to me as a joke. So I have to verbally say it, and then I can just keep doing the same process. Then I write it down. I try to turn it into something else off the editing. Then I go on stage, do it again. I record it again. I do the same thing like 5 or 6 times till I've got something.
Yeah, the only problem I have with that is like I'll write something down, like I'll write the cliff note down, and then when I get home, I'm like, what the fuck was that? What did I
Yeah.
write? Like I have a note, like now I don't know if you can see it on my phone. It says "Fat Girl Pussy Terminator 2," and I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I used to do that. So I would have to do other.
But at some point, that was probably super funny.
I have to write out like a sentence because I've done that too in the past where it's like, but I have to. I'll do that once it's a joke. Like that would be my set list. Like you're doing 45 minutes.
Oh yeah, if it's my set list, right off the top.
And my
I know
phone will
what that
just
is.
say "Fat Girl Pussy Terminator 2," and that's like they're like, well, how many jokes is that? I'm like, that's the 45 minutes. That to me that means 45 minutes somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like because usually when I do a longer set, it's like 4 words because I group everything. And then even if it's not a real grouping, to me it makes sense as a grouping. So I can
Yeah,
move,
mine
so
will just say
chunks.
like massage, and I'm like, okay, well, there's 6 minutes.
Right. But then someone says to me, hey, can you do 15 minutes? I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this chunk or these 2 chunks. And that way I can just move things around all the time too and do that. But like, I always tell people, I've said this before in the podcast, I always think people should write the way they studied in school. If you were someone who's a meticulous note taker, then you should write that way. That's how you learn.
I should have somebody else do my shit.
Exactly. You should be doing that. No, but like I was the only way I could learn is by the teacher talking and me having to pay attention. Like me having to read it and do it, or me having to write down all the note, me study for a test, whatever. But literally, if a teacher was telling it right to me, I could take that in my head and process it. Like I'm more of a verbal person than that way. But to sit and write, it's punishment to me.
Yeah.
When I'm writing stuff, I'd rather just type right away. But even that, I'm like, fuck. So I have to voice record it and listen to me and type that again to write books or do whatever because I just can't sit there and just write because it just feels like I'm in trouble.
I get that. I never tried the voice recording, but I probably should start doing that.
I think most comics get too caught up in a video, especially nowadays, but everyone gets caught up in the video of themselves. But I don't like that because I don't, if I'm doing it so I can send it to someone, then yeah, of course. But if I'm doing it for me to work on shit, I want to hear how I did it, the way it sounded when I did it. I don't want to hear the back of the room and the waitresses and other people's notions. I don't want to watch my movements because I'm not worried about my movements right now. I know how I'll sell the joke later. I want the phone in my pocket or on the stool so I hear it exactly the way I heard it when I was telling it. And then I just go home that night. I listen, I edit off that, and then I erase it. I don't dwell on it. I don't go back to it later because then I'll overanalyze it and hate the fuck out of it. It's got to still be fresh in my head listen to it on the ride home, whatever, write whatever changes I want to change, and then go on stage the next time with it. So I don't sit there and go fuck, nope, now I should do this, or fuck that joke, whatever. No, now I've got this new thing I've got to keep working on. And if I go to an open mic, I've got to have 2 or 3 of those things. I have to have a goal for every open mic I go to, or I don't get anything out of it. And most people, I think, just go just to say I'm at an open mic, and then they go up for 3 minutes, complain about how long they waited to go up. They have another minute for other comics went over. Then they're mad and go over because they didn't finish their joke. I'll usually be done before my 5 minutes are up because I'm working on 1 or 2 things.
Yeah, I'll work on like one punchline and be like, oh yeah, that's all I really wanted to do.
Right. Or if I'm moving shit around, like wordage or like 2 jokes, I'm like, oh, you know what? What if I did this joke then this joke? I'll just go up and literally out of context do those 2 things.
I'll do whatever joke I was working on, and then I'll try and do crowd work.
All right.
Just to get good at like if I can bullshit, and then like if I am struggling for time, like, oh, the cloud, what do you do, man? Let's see if I have something for that.
See if you can. A lot of people, if you're comfortable, so you can do that. A lot of people would be so daunting because you're doing crowd work. Like it's like doing crowd work to an open mic crowd is kind of like trying to get a date at a lesbian bar. You know what I mean? Like they're there. You think they're the ones that want you, but you've learned quickly they don't want anything that you're bringing because they're not the right audience.
They're all gay.
Yeah, they're all not into cock. Like they don't want it. And you're going to talk about your dick or whatever. So some comics will say to me, should I practice crowd work? I go, you can, but it should be more about instinct. It should be when you're talking, if something just pops to your mind, trust that and say it. But you shouldn't go up there going, now I'm going to talk about chicken wings and then like, but without a joke or whatever.
Who likes Chick-fil-A?
There was a guy named Ralph the Funny Man. I don't know.
Nice.
He was Ralph, and then all one word, the funny man. And I forget his last name, but he was like around for like 3 months, whatever. And I remember one time he's at a bringer show thing, and he walks up and he told one joke, crowd kind of laughed, and he just goes, all right, now this is the portion of the show where I do crowd work. This isn't like an act. This is like him really talking out loud. And he goes, what do you got there? Chicken wings? And she goes, yeah. He goes, they good? Goes, yeah, they're good. He goes, nice. That's crowd work. And like, if someone goes, that's a character, it's the greatest character of all time. Like, it's not. This was this guy literally telling you he just did crowd work and he was finished now. And it's just like, I tell most people, if you're going to do any kind of crowd work and you don't know how to do it yet, go observational, not conversational.
Yeah.
So, because you're not ready yet for them to talk back to you. You think you are. But if a drunk guy hits that, not so drunk that he's an asshole, but he's got that good buzz where he's the most clever he is his whole day, you're not going to be able to hang. Like, or a woman says something else. The crowd, if you're on stage for a while and the crowd likes you, then they've got your back. But if you just go up for 5 minutes and you shit on some fat lady, the crowd's going to defend that themselves. The crowd,
yeah, 100%.
Unless they like you. So if they didn't like your first joke and you try to dig in, now you're fucked. And so it's like I wouldn't practice it, but I would practice testing the waters of saying something that's on my mind right away. Like that's how I do crowd work. If I'm in the middle of a joke and I see somebody wearing something weird and I want to make a joke, I go for the second thought I get, because the first thought's a thought I think everyone has. So I'm like, if I thought of this right away, everyone would, and that doesn't make this unique. There's no point in doing it. What's the second thought? Boom, this. I say a weird reference. I get a good laugh off it. I get back out of it. And I kind of do that and trust it. If I see that I did it and they laughed, the person liked it and everyone liked it, then I'll keep going down the well until the well's dry. But if I see that they weren't in the mood, then I fucking pull back off. I get the laugh, but I don't ruin their day.
Yeah.
I used to ruin their day. Like my whole act for like years was, oh, you don't like that shit? You're crying? Fuck that, bitch. I just keep going until like no one else wants to perform.
I was like that for a little bit.
That was
like, what's your name? And then when I'm like, I'll give you a fucking name, dude. Talk to me.
Yeah. Fuck. It's like,
just like, all right, whatever.
Like you came here. It's like, I didn't come here to talk. It's like, I just wanted. I've watched that work so bad for a guy one time. It was so great. Like he's on stage and he's like, he's bombing, and the guy in the audience just didn't say anything. He just literally at one point put his head down. And the guy goes, what's your problem? He goes, you're not funny. He's like, I'm being quiet, but you're just not funny. Just continue till you're done, I guess. Whatever. And the guy's like, damn. I'm not funny. You don't think I'm funny? He's like, yeah, dude, just, it's not a big deal. I'm fine. I'll wait till the next comment. And the guy was being polite, but he's just like, so then the guy wouldn't let it go. And he goes, he's like, why don't you come up here then if you think you're better? And he goes, absolutely not. I paid $20 to get a ticket to come to the show to watch what I thought was a professional comedian make me laugh. Now, if I went to a restaurant and I don't like the food, I'm not going to go back there and cook. I'd be real mad that I paid for food that wasn't good. And I don't complain. I would be quiet. I'd be shocked if the chef told me to go cook. Fucking tell a joke. So then the host just came up and took the guy off. It was so great to watch in the back. Like the guy owned him so great. It's like, and he wasn't even trying to be funny, but like, you can't now tell jokes afterward. You were just
you lost.
You lost, and you tried to pull the bullshit. Why don't you come up here? Like what? First of all, what are you, an idiot? Like why you're gonna let people just go up loose, just telling jokes? Like why would the club want that? No one wants that. They might be good.
Yeah, I almost did that one time at a show where I was doing bad, and I was just saying shit. I was just saying shocking shit just to like get a reaction at this point. And this dude yelled out, and I was real close to be like, "Why don't you fucking try if you think you're so like?" And I was just like, "Oh yeah, you know what? Hey, that's my time." And then that dude was the headliner of the show. He fucking went up and killed, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so happy I didn't say that."
I've had that happen to me where I was at a show and I like to watch, so I was closing it, but I was sitting in the back and I got there a little late. And it wasn't like a headline set. It was like I was doing 20 on a showcase or something, and there was like 6 or 7 comics, but one of the comics was not doing well, so they were just going into the crowd, and there wasn't a big crowd. The bald fuck in the back, and so I just smiled, and then they tried to like make fun of me, and I just kind of smiled, and then they were like, "What? You don't say nothing? You just a creep, just stalking, whatever." So I didn't say anything, and as they were take off stage by the host, I saw them like shake hands and exchange whispers, and then you see the guy look at me and go, "Sorry." So the other guy must have said something, and I didn't say shit. I walked over and I go, "I get it, man, but like, if it doesn't matter, it's me or not. If I'm not enjoying what you're doing, move on. Don't make my time bad. Not everyone has to react to what you're doing. I could have, but I had a feeling I would have been funnier than you."
Did you ever have that happen before a show starts? I've had that once. I thought it was funny, where a guy was like shitting on me like outside. And then he was like, I was like, "Oh, are you going to the comedy show?" He's like, "Yeah, man." He's still making fun of me and shit. And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool, man." I was like, "I'll see you in there." And then when I got on stage, he was in the front row, and I was like, "Yeah, you know, you fucked up."
Right. Oh, that's actually happened to me several times, which is that's the greatest feeling. Now, were you a dick to him or no? Did you just?
Nah, just a little bit.
Nice. I've done it. I've been both ways. I've been the complete asshole and made it terrible, and I've also just made it fun. But like, so when I do the show with Frank at Comics, Mohegan Sun, the club lets everyone people have to bring people. So like, so they get, and Frank's nice enough where he pays the bringers. So it's one of the bringers where they get paid, but like for every person you bring, you make $5 fucking bucks, and you have to bring at least 4. There's a guy one time who made his first time doing comedy, almost made $250 because he brought so many people. It was like fucking crazy.
Insane.
So, but anyway, so the way they get paid is at the door of the club. When you walk in, the people, like if you brought somebody, like they'd have to say, "I'm here to see Mike O'Donnell." Now it's all on that honor system. Like if they don't say your name when they go sit down, you don't get checked off, right? So sometimes to make sure they're doing that right, I'll walk over and stand by the door guys and just make sure, like, hey, just make sure you ask so that these guys get paid so they don't bitch to Frank, whatever. And I'm standing there and people just like turn to me and go, "Where's the bathroom?" And I'm like, "Well, it's down that way." It's like, "Well, you don't even know whether you work here, don't you?" And I go, "Well, I kind of work here." And then they'll go farther for like, "Well, this moron up here doesn't even know where the bathroom is and he works here." And I'm like, "Oh, hey, where are you going to sit them?" I'll say to the people, they're like, "Why, are we going to do spit in our food?" I go, "Oh, no, I won't spit in your food." And then I go up on stage and I just go, "Hey, has anyone ever been an asshole in public?" And I just in detail bring out what they said. And I just go, it's weird because you're the confidence. And I the one time I ruined it was I said, "You have the confidence of someone who's fucking an attractive woman. And I see what you brought to the table. Jesus, and you shouldn't have that confidence." Yeah. And some people laughed and they're like, "What the fuck?" The guy was mad. And I'm like, "Fuck you." And it ended in me almost fighting the guy, but that was it. I was like,
hell yeah, dude.
But fuck him for like,
yeah, don't be a dick.
I love when they're like, "I didn't know you were on stage." You go, "So you're just an asshole to people till you learn who they are?" Like, that's fucked up. Like, why do you need my status? It's like, it's not undercover boss, you dickhead. I'm just the host of the show. It's like,
did you have a fake mustache?
Yes, I did. I did. And a big toupee.
Did you go on stage?
I run Home Depot. Like, oh no, I had no idea. Are you going to deport me? Yes, we're going to do that. What's the joke you're working on?
I'm trying to write a martial arts joke. Being a martial artist myself, I have some background in it.
Does
But
that bother you? I mean, ask quickly because I have certain things that I like, certain hobbies I like that I won't joke about because I don't know. I think it's A, too inside sometimes, and B, I don't like ruining my hobby.
yeah, I mean, I'm cool. I'm cool with talking. It doesn't bug me like at all. But what did get me is like when you do have like a hobby and like you know a little bit about it. Like I was working with this dude, and this is where the joke stems from. Is he's like, oh, he's like, yeah, I have 13 black belts, which is a lot of black belts.
So it's like,
You know what I mean? Like I did Taekwondo for almost 7 years, like 6.5 years, 7 years, and I like almost got my black belt. That's just one. You know what I mean? This dude is
why do you keep
13.
getting black belts?
Huh?
I don't know anything about that. I thought you got
This
a
dude's
black
just
belt and that was it.
well, it's a different martial arts.
Oh,
You know,
in
a black
different
belt. Yeah,
in different things.
he didn't have 13 in one martial art. That'd be
That's what I
insane.
thought. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that's
It's like you're just
crazy.
buying them at this point. That's
I graduated 12 times from high school.
but
Like, what?
he was saying like I have a black belt in Taekwondo, I have a black belt in jujitsu, I have
Jiu-jitsu.
a
Okay,
black belt in
okay.
judo, I have a black belt, and it's like you don't. I know you don't.
Right.
I just know from experience. There's no way you do that.
You're also not old enough to have all that shit fucking.
Yeah, but he's hitting me with all this martial art. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. And I'm like, I'm kind of playing dumb. And I remember he was like, oh yeah, for my black belt in kung fu, he's like, I had to stay in horse stance for an hour. You know what horse stance is?
I would guess like a horse.
It's almost like you're sitting on a horse. It's like standing, like you're squatting.
Oh, like,
So you're like a
you're
half
on the- I
squat.
thought you were a horse.
No, yeah, he's on top of me.
Oh, nice.
But it's like you're like
Like a straddle position.
halfway into a squat. Yeah, you're like
Right.
straddling. You're standing up. And you're supposed to,
Teabag.
just hold basically like you're if you were going through a tea bag and you stopped and you
Okay.
just held
Nice.
that position. And he's like, I had to hold that for an hour to get my black belt. And I was like, holy shit, that's impressive. And I looked up like what the world record is for like a horse stance. It's like 6 minutes.
I was gonna say an hour sounds insane.
It's impossible.
Insane.
It's like a world-class martial artist. It's like I can do it for like 6.5 minutes. That's it. So it's all this shit. I'm just like, okay, yeah. And he's telling me about, oh, I fought this, I kicked this dude in the fucking head. And the one that got me, I was like, I need to start writing this fucking joke down. Was he said his sensei died. And he was like, he's like, what's crazy? He was like 3 days before he died, he told me he was going to teach me the secret move. And now I can't learn it. It's like, there's no secret move. It's not a real thing.
Sensei knows.
Yeah, it doesn't exist, dude. Everyone knows everything.
But not even that. Like, okay, like unless
Like
you
the
were
fucking
training in,
Kill Bill,
yeah,
it's
unless you're
not real.
training
It doesn't
in
exist.
Okinawa, like where are you from? Are you in Harrisburg? They know the secret move. It's like what
Unless you're learning martial arts from a dude who lives in like a hut in the jungle.
right.
There's no secret move.
He was going to teach me the move they used to make the bullet go through JFK's head. Like, it wasn't even a gun. It was just a
He was
move.
going to teach me to bend time and space, and he died.
He died, but he was only going to teach me. No one else. No one else knows this move. Yeah,
It's like, dude, you were learning Tai Bo.
yeah. I got a black belt in Zumba. Like
Billy Blanks is not a fucking sensei.
Oh, I would love that. I said blank belt. I have a Billy blank
I
belt.
have a blank belt. I have 13 blank belts.
That would be my. I see. I grew up at a time when no one really knew. You didn't call it martial arts. It was everything was karate. Just like everybody Asian was Chinese. Everything was karate.
I do jujitsu now. They're like, how's karate practice? I'm like, so fucking karate.
Oh, like I listen to Joe Rogan a lot, and I love when comics will come on and be like, you can tell they're busting balls. Like, so when you're doing your kung fu or whatever, or you're doing your karate fight, and it's just like,
it will irk you. You're like,
yeah. When he says he's a judo player, they all laugh. They're like, your plays and toss around. But everyone I knew, it was a lie. If you were a nerdy kid, you thought you could get away with, dude, I know karate. It's like,
yeah, I'd fight you, but I'd probably fucking kill you, dude.
I know.
My fists are my fists are registered. And I do a joke like that when I say this isn't what I'm working on, but I say, oh, I try not to get into fights. I did martial arts. My hands are registered, as sex offenders. So I try to slip it in real quick.
Literally, that's the only way kids will take it. You slip it in.
I'll get you.
That would be great if you were a molester or a pedophile. You only had to register your hand, like so. You're like,
It's
Well,
just a picture of my hands on Megan's list.
that's it. And then just like, well, how did he touch that kid? He goes, he foot fucked him. He's like, ah, loophole.
Well, the kid was hiding behind one piece of plywood, and he punched through it and grabbed it.
Maybe we really should have registered his dick because then he raped all those kids. Like, we weren't thinking about this at all. But so what's the bit you're working on for it? How do you have you done it on stage at all yet?
I haven't done any of it yet. That's just the premise I'm going off of. I definitely want to make a joke about the secret move. There's no secret move.
Yeah.
I wish there was a secret move. I'm trying to think of something funny that could be. I think the secret move would be like just kick him in the balls.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm more intrigued by.
It's gotta be like no one suspects it.
I'm beyond intrigued by a person that would lie like that. So that's one premise that I really enjoy. Just the fact that there's still in this day and like liars were very incredible before Google. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you could just say whatever and I couldn't call you out in your bullshit. But for you to tell me that you do a horse stance for an hour and you could literally look it up and go, that's not a thing. You would have been the grand champ. You're not even mentioned. Hey, I know you're saying it's a secret move, but if I go on Black Twitter, I should be able to find it and it's not there.
I should see videos of you beating the fucking hell out of people. With 13 black belts, people should disintegrate when you touch them.
Yeah. The way you're talking, the beginning of John Wick should say based on a true story, based on that guy with 11 black belts.
This is based off Nelson, who works at the hat factory with Mike.
But
and that's not his real name.
No one named Nelson has 13 black belts. That is not a thing.
13 black belts. I also have asthma. Like, yeah, just the fuck up, dude.
You're gonna feel the wrath of Nelson. It's like, really, you were doing that? That Nelson was that group of the Ricky Nelson's two kids who had that one song. And Google that. Nelson was not a cool group. They were two twin boys with long blonde hair. But I'm intrigued with that. But I love the idea of what the secret move could be. It's like, but I think if you're going to mention the horse stance, I think almost natural you go to like another animal type thing or so. I don't know, because you're going to bring it up anyway.
Oh yeah, well I thought about that too, because like with kung fu, like they have all the animal stances and just like crane style and fucking mantis, and monkey, all that shit. And so you could put in fucking a wild ass like hamster or something crazy, something silly.
What's the one called, like drunken monkey or something like that?
Drunken master, yeah, dude.
Because you could have drunken master.
Drunken boxing, dude. That's where they play, like they're holding teacups.
You do like Drunken master, where it's like the combination of three birds and a drunken master. It's like I harness the power of John Madden, turkeys, and Tough Actington Acton, and I fight you that way.
I will fuck your shit up.
Oh, I love that. Is Nelson an in shape guy?
I mean, he was in shape for being like, he's skinny, like Manny's in shape. You know what I mean?
No, because to me, and I know you want to be truthful, but to me, the story's better if he's like 300 something fucking pounds.
I can for the joke, I can make him fucking huge.
Because then like, how does he do the horse stand? Like all that shit would be like, if he's fat, he doesn't have any thigh gap. If he's thin, he at least does a little bit. I don't know. When you said it, I never thought of a skinny in shape guy. I don't know why. He's white though, right?
He was Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rican named Nelson. He's got 13 black belts. He has more black belts than kids, and he's Puerto Rican. It's like
I have a black belt for each kid. I learned
each of their names.
I learned different martial arts to protect each kid.
All his kids are named after the things we can remember. My daughter jiu-jitsu and my son tai chi.
Get your brother armbar.
Are there 13
martial arts? There's a ton of martial arts, dude.
Really? I didn't. I don't.
Yeah, karate and taekwondo are basically the same thing,
right?
But that's two separate martial arts.
But wrestling's not a martial art, is it?
I'm technically, but
I was saying, because like
you can't get a belt UFC in it. You
is
get a heavyweight championship belt if you're good.
What I'm saying, but UFC is a governing body of mixed martial arts. So people wrestle, they punch, they box. So it's like, are those martial arts?
Yeah.
Boxing's a martial art. He has a black belt in boxing.
It's just fighting. That's all it is. That's all it means.
That's street fighting.
It's techniques for fighting.
He has a black belt in Street Fighter, the arcade game.
He's so good, dude.
He has 2 in Mortal Kombat. It's fucking great. I just love, but I think I'm most intrigued. I love the lying thing. I don't know if that was me, if I would go, I would definitely want to know what the secret move is, but I'd almost be more focused on lying about 13 black belt is like lying, and then I'd find another ridiculous, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'd find like another ridiculous thing that would be so easy to find out. Like, how many Puerto Rican Nelson senseis are there?
There's none.
None. Like, you're not Nelson. You're Nelson. Like, if it's
Nelson.
if you're Nelson, then yeah.
Nelson's son.
Nelson's son. Yeah, no, you can't. At least be like Lee at the last name or something.
Yeah, if he would have said I got 4 black belts, I would be like, oh shit. You know what I mean? There's there's a certain number that gets like, it's like, all right, dude, you're fucking with me.
You know what? And I've said this to you before, and I'm about to contradict myself, but I think of a reason why, because I think you can handle this. I've said to you before that you shouldn't ask as many questions when you're on stage. But this
I've stopped doing it.
But this joke, because so many people have knowledge of it or do it now, you almost want to ask, does anyone here do any mixed martial arts? Because if they do, then you can
and then challenge them to a fight and be like, oh,
yeah, and then fucking kill them right there. Like,
come up here and grab my wrist, dude.
Well, I'd be like, whatever thing they say, Tai Chi, whatever, I'd be like, so you obviously know the secret move, and then just kind of walk away from it, okay. And then continue to tell the story, and then be like, and then you can almost, when you're done, call bullshit to that guy in the crowd again. It's like, you don't know it, he died. You're just like Nelson lying to me.
No one knows it, dude.
How do you know?
It went to the grave with that fucking sensei that
what was the
worked next to an Annie Ann's pretzel in the mall. Sensei Steve.
Yeah, his sensei, Jose. Yeah, I mean, or not even go that route, but just I like the idea because people know about it. Where whatever one thing they name, they go, "Could you name 12 more and then possibly master them in a couple hours?" Because I know a guy who did. Because it's like,
I know a guy slightly older than me that has 13 black belts. Granted, it took me almost 7 years to get one.
So what? He's like,
and I don't have it.
He's not even like 30 years old. He's got.
He was like 36,
and he's got 11. You said
13.
13.
It takes. I know jiu-jitsu takes 10 years basically.
Right. I mean, that's if you start.
That's just one.
You also start young.
Yeah.
Usually, anybody I know who has black belts, they started when they were like kindergarten, first grade.
I don't consider like when I was doing it. When I was about to get my black belt right before my school closed. I think I was 14, and that doesn't mean I'm fucking kicking ass. It just means I went.
You paid the money, and you got to the certain point where they had to give you.
I was there, and I know how to throw a kick.
Right, but you still put in all the time.
Yeah. But if you want to be like, yeah, that 14-year-old's a black belt, he's gonna fuck your shit. I was like, nah, they don't mean pizza rolls, man.
Right, but imagine, okay, you did it from like ages, let's just say 7 to 14 or 8 to 14 or whatever it was, and then you'd have to do that again 12 more times.
12 more times, yeah. Unless you're doing all 13 at once, which you would have no time. It doesn't make sense.
Because that was 7. Yes, okay, you might have some knowledge, not to start back you might be a white belt in like ranking, but because you know one martial art, you may know some basic things to get you moving faster. But still, you would think at the fastest, 5 years? That's the fastest to get to a black belt. Like, you would think 7 to 10, but like even if you're this guy would have to, he'd have to be
100.
Yeah. You'd have to be dead to get 11 of them. I'm telling you, I think he got 11 of the same one. I think he's going to go back.
I think he just bought 13 black belts.
He got it at Dave and Buster's where he had enough tickets, and he's like, I'll take 11 more black belts, please. And a giant snow cone. I'll take that. So do you think, but something, okay, so you're doing dark stuff now. Are you, if that's not dark, unless do you feel like you have to make it go dark?
No, I don't have to make that dark. That's just like a lot of the stuff that I've been working on. Like, did Bobby tell you my suicide joke?
I think so.
Do you know? It's the first one. I was like, if I'm gonna kill myself, I want to make it funny. Like, I want to go to a restaurant and be like, hey, can I get like a Coke? And I'm like, is Pepsi okay? And be like, you tell me, and then fucking blow my brains out. And that gets a laugh. And that's the setup for, I was like, people get weird. You talk about suicide. I was like, I could talk about it. I said, my brother killed himself. And then 3 months after that, my aunt killed herself. And then 3 months after that, to the date, my fucking PlayStation died. And that gets nothing. The crowd goes fucking silent. I'm like, and I miss that PlayStation. I think about that PlayStation a lot.
It's the only one that didn't leave me a note.
Yeah, that's all that happened. It gets nothing, but I think that's so funny.
I like it too. I thought you were going to go darker. I'd be honest with you, I kind of liked that it was light and silly at the end of a thing. I thought you'd be like, and 3 months after that was the anniversary of me killing the two of them. Like, that was fucking Pepsi.
What the fuck did I say to you? I wanted to say, I thought it was Thursday. I was like, I was playing Russian roulette with my roommate the other day. Well, he didn't know he was playing. He was asleep. I was just pointing a gun at his head. It's like, you know what it feels like to wake up a winner? Shocking.
Yeah, but I like that. So that's my first thing. When I come up with that idea the same way, I don't care about where it's going to fit in the act. I'm like, oh, this is in my head. I got to do this now. And then I'll just fucking put it wherever. But I get obsessed with that. So I would be like, I'd be going from every fucking angle of it myself. Like, for me to do it, I go up there and I tell one from like, but I have to have like 3 different premise ideas. Like, what's the goal? I do 3 different goals, and then I see not so much what hits with the audience, but what hits with me, what I feel like I can go best with, and then I go from there. So like, I'll first go with imagine being this much of a liar in this day and age. That's like
I'm gonna write that down. That is a good point.
It's almost like being. Too many comics do it, so I wouldn't do it. I'm just saying, like, how many comics will be like, you know how hard it was to be a pervert back in the day? You had to get a trench coat and a little mirror on your shoes or whatever.
Yeah.
Nowadays you could just go online and fuck someone's kid. Do what to do. Like, I wouldn't go there, but it's like amazing that somebody could be that delusional that you could try to be Forrest Gump after Forrest Gump. Like, you're not that interesting. You have 13 black, and then you've done anything else. Are you married? You have a job? Have you eaten? Like, how would you do anything else in life?
You don't have time.
No, there's nothing else. Does he work?
Well, he's working with me.
Right. So how does he get to work? Is he constantly training?
He teleports, dude. He's good. He knows his shit.
Fucking, if you have 13 black belts, you should be like guarding like fucking North Korea's president. You shouldn't be working at the hat place.
Just appear in a puff of smoke.
Yeah. How are you not like Adele's bodyguard?
Why are you working minimum wage with me?
Like, you're a killer in 13 ways. Like, nobody can fuck with you. You should at least be a bouncer at a cool club or something.
Hey, you think that? No, you have asthma and you're working at the hat place.
Yeah. I mean, if the club was called the hat place, I get it. But if you're just working at a legitimate hat place, fuck that. It's like, how are you not drowned in pussy? You know, 13. Like, you should be a lifeguard to save you from all the pussy you're inside, because you're fucking got 13 black belts. You should be in the news. Like, that should almost be like a Netflix documentary. The man.
You should be able to be like, oh, and Jean-Claude Van Damme is in my phone.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know,
I know every martial artist. I'll call them right now.
I've only taught one guy. Have you heard of Steven Seagal?
Yeah, maybe you've heard of him. Also, I have a black belt in Aikido. Shut the fuck up.
And my girlfriend's name? Nikita. Same thing. I'm married to.
Oh, and I like to eat taquitos.
Yeah, taquitos. How are you eating taquitos and you're fighting so hard? It's like, it keeps me loose. My metabolism is so powerful. I've also trained myself in that. I also got a black belt in Weight Watchers.
Yeah, I had the secret move is definitely one I want to work on, or just talking about being like, because you always see the even like Karate Kid, it was like the martial arts, the dude who's like no shit would show up to like a dojo and like, I'm just gonna fuck up your instructor and be like, this martial arts bullshit, you need to learn this shit.
Right.
But like, that nowadays is like you going to like, there's a karate place next to like a hair salon and you just fucking up some dad who teaches on a weekend.
Yeah, you're literally going from your Papa John's job to Pizza Hut to go, they make different sauce.
Yeah. When I'm done delivering pizzas, I kick ass and take names.
It's just Uber driver by day, fucking killer by night. It's like,
yeah, my Uber's a rickshaw. I'm that committed to martial arts.
That should be his name.
Rickshaw.
Yeah, that's the name, Rick Shaw. And I once in a while tried to say that
cop.
Name.
Let's pitch it.
I've tried to say that name on stage, and like one person gets it, and I'm like, you fucking racist. You don't even know like their best car. The rickshaw. On stage, I've said that and said, you know, their number one song like in China on iPods, right? Dong, 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 dong. So I go, it's not racist. We all know that song. It's like their number one hit. It's like our happy birthday. It's like they love it. Everyone learns it.
We all know it.
But bringing up that thing, now my joke I've been working on, and I've been happy to when you said you would come on here. I did say this one time on a podcast already, but I'm still working on it. But I think your insight would be good here because you're good at doing I'm taking a subject that's fucked up and I'm trying to make it so people enjoy it and don't just get mad at the words. Now, to be clear, every album I've ever recorded, I've had to say the word retarded on it. It's not on purpose. I just dabble in retarded.
It's a good word.
It's what I do. So I was at an open mic. This is where it all came from. I was at an open mic and a comic was up there doing woke comedy, like for real. And they were talking about how they would change all the TV shows to make it better. And it wasn't funny at all, but it was just so funny that they were like, all my police officers would be black, strong women and all this would be, and then all the white men run away. And so I went up after just to say something. And I just blurted out the idea. And I was like, I also want to make a woke show. Like I want to make a Law and Order, but like, just retarded people in it, and that's it. So it's Special Victims Unit. And then the crowd kind of laughed. And I was like, I had nothing else to say. And I just stopped and went, it wouldn't be a show for an hour, just be a retarded guy in the car going, dun, 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 dun. And by the time I did it like 2 more times, people in the audience were doing it. So I'm like, okay, I've got something. There's something stupid here where if I do that. So I went back on stage and did it again and like wrote down some other things that could happen in the show. And I said, well, the show would be hard to fucking figure out. You think you're good at figuring out cop shows? Try figuring out the lineup of 5 Down syndrome guys. So it's like, you think Asians are tough? It's just the same head. You're like, I don't fucking know. You turn around, all the cops look like that too. You're like, shit. Yeah. Everybody did it.
Do any of these men look familiar? They all look the same.
I like ice cream. It's like that's it. And then I was trying to figure out one more, and I didn't say it on stage yet, but I had written down that I'd said but it got canceled, not because of the actors or anything. It's because the actors actually were not retarded Americans or whatever you call them. I said they were cultural appropriating. They just hired people from Boston because they talk the same. But I think I'm overthinking the joke. I think it really is just me doing the dumb song and moving on. I think the farther I go with it, the better chance I have of like you loving your PlayStation thing. If you ended it with the Coke and Pepsi thing, people would be very happy. Now for you, you're like, fuck you. I like this. Now I like the idea of having a lineup of this Down syndrome people, but if I just ended it with me doing dun, 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 and then I even thought like if I do that and then throughout my act, if someone says something fucked up in the audience, I can just do the song at them because that's kind of like
just hit them with the dong dong.
Yeah. Well, I just like the idea of that. But okay, I guess the 2 questions are: do you think should I just keep it for the way I'm doing it regardless? So it's not like should you not do it at all? It's happening. Special Victims Unit is a thing where I do say it's every retarded guy and Ice-T because they kept Ice-T.
Ice-T still in it? I was just about to ask because Ice-T.
Ice-T stays. Everyone else.
You mean to tell me they all like trains?
Trying to tell me they all lick windows? They all like their sweatpants up to their nipples?
That would be a good crime scene though if they went up to the window and are like, ah. Yeah.
They have to take tongue prints.
There was a murder here.
Instead of fingerprints, they all do tongue prints. So they have to look at it to see the prints.
Dusting the window for prints. Just a picture of a tongue on the window.
See, and I want it to be funny if I just started doing John Mulaney's bit though, but about Ice-T being with retards. It's not stealing. I'm inspired. But
yeah, that's the problem with that is it goes real quick into John Mulaney.
That's why I didn't even want to mention he was on it, but I thought it was funny. And I thought
Ice Cube special.
But if I said anybody else, like if I say Richard Belzer, I say whatever, they're gonna go who like for a second. But everyone knows Ice-T is weirdly the most famous. Is
Stabler SVU? Is that?
Well, yeah, but like it's not like not everyone knows their names. Like everyone knows who Ice-T.
Yeah, true. Everyone. Yeah, you're right.
Even though he's not the star of the show, you could say, "Oh, that lesbian lady who's always in it and got raped in one of them and couldn't let it go." Like, yeah, I don't want to. I don't remember her name either. But yeah, or like the black lady who also looks like the black lady from DC. who fights with Suicide Squad. It's like, well, she's a different black lady, but yeah, I got you. She's the judge at one point. So yeah, I think Ice-T's the one that mentioned. I don't have to do it. I think it's more just about saying Special Victims Unit and not saying the word retarded, but I also like saying the word retarded.
Yeah, well, definitely if you're already doing it and you have people in the crowd singing along to it, it's like that's good. That's a good start.
Yeah, because
that's a memorable thing.
I think that's just silly, and it's just like that's what I wanted to do. I like taking something that's fucked up and then making it silly enough where people can go, "Oh yeah, this is all silly." That's kind of a lesson.
You could go places with it, like you'd be like, I was watching fucking Cold Case Files, and they're like, and they never found the woman's body. Like, dun dun. Like now I'm fucking singing the song, watching actual crimes.
But I do now. I don't know why, but now I want tongue prints. I want that
tongue prints. Yeah, please work that in.
I want that in there.
We found teeth marks on this Lego brick. It could be anybody.
I think it'd be fun to not offend anyone because no one cares about the Irish. Just be like, all the cops are either have Down syndrome or Irish. So it's just like, like, is that O'Reilly? Like, auto parts? It's like, no, no, not auto parts. Don't sing the song. Auto parts.
Right.
It's like, they don't go to Dunkin' Donuts anymore. They just go to the zoo. That's my favorite line, but no one ever knows that. My line from Rocky, the whole thing in Rocky 1 and Rocky 2, the joke that's there in Rocky 1, when Rocky's down his luck, and that guy, the guy who's like the fucking loan shark is talking to him, and he's like, and the guy who's driving his car is an asshole to Rocky the whole time. He's always shitting on him. And he goes, "Hey, Rocky, why don't you bring your girlfriend to the zoo? I hear retards like the zoo." It's one of my favorite lines ever. In Rocky 2, he brings her to the zoo. Now, I know they did it on purpose. I don't give a fuck what they say. That's brilliant writing. Where in Rocky 2, they go to the goddamn zoo.
I never caught that, but that is amazing.
It's amazing. He tells him flat out, "Bring that retard to the zoo. I hear they like the zoo. Thanks for the tip."
I'm gonna try that out.
You kind of seem like an asshole, but you guys should open out.
You get some pussy.
Oh, I'll marry her and go to Russia.
I'm gonna open a restaurant.
See, Rocky Balboa shouldn't have been a couple-time heavyweight champion and like traveled the world 3 times. So maybe your boy Nelson does know.
It's possible, dude. He could have just been getting black belts by getting punched in the face repeatedly.
If you said, "Hey, Sylvester Stallone, how many movies have you written or started?" If you just met that guy, you'd be like, "This guy's lying. Look at this midget Italian mumbling thing." And he's like, "No, in his country, he's like a hero. He's a billionaire."
Statues, dude.
Yeah. People look up to be him. Like there's a statue of a character he played in a town. Like and other people, when they have to name famous army men in history, they name a character of his because they're stupid.
Yeah, everyone knows the most famous person from Philly is Rocky.
Yeah, Rocky Balboa. He has a fucking statue.
It's Rocky and then Nick Foles.
Yeah, yeah, and like Ben Franklin doesn't even have a statue. There's just a bell. I heard no bell.
Yeah, that's the bell. That's the boxing bell from Rocky.
That's what it is. That's why it's cracked. You know, I mean, Apollo.
He was on steroids.
Speaking of dumb noises, one time I did go to open mic and somebody was just doing Rocky Balboa impressions. Like, you can change, you can change. So I just went on stage for 5 minutes and went and just did that until I got the light. And people were just kind of laughing. Then they stopped laughing. Then they started laughing again. But I didn't care. And when I was done, I go, "Oh, that was just me starting a car." And and someone laughed and goes, "No, that was Rocky." I'm like,
"Nope, that's just what my car sounds like."
Good night. I just wasted my 5 minutes. I was just so mad at a guy going up there. Like,
I get that. I totally get that.
But yeah,
do you think you would use something like tongue prints, or would you keep
yes,
it short
my problem is I go down to the minutia. Like I will do that. I will do the point where I will have 14 tags and other things on it, and then slowly find what. Not so much what's not working. I don't care if it's not working. If I can have one thing at the end that work, I'll take that little hole in a second. But I have to make sure I'm not tripping over the wording.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely do like finding like we said, like the Lego bricks and shit like that at like a crime scene.
Right. Yes. Oh, they're just stepping out.
There's tons of we found a lollipop under the.
Yeah, when they get instead of having a dog that sniffs people out, they just got a guy.
It was him.
If they did one episode where he had to go undercover in the Special Olympics, it's just him.
Is this still a fake mustache? You just got water wings on by the pool. I'm undercover.
His shirt says "not a cop."
I'm not a cop either.
Well, I'm not cops. But see, and to me, at first, I was like, if I'm gonna add tags, maybe I do the stupid song at the end. But I'm like, I need the song at the beginning to go, okay, this is stupid and silly. Now let me do this thing. You know what I mean? So same thing with your, like you said, with that Coke joke and Pepsi. You do that at the beginning, and then you kind of get a free pass to go. Let me take this step.
Let's see how far I can go with this.
Let me see how many dumb things I can do. Because I used to do a joke like that where I had 5 punchlines for it, and because I didn't know which one to use, and instead I just started doing all 5 punchlines. Because I was like, one would work kind of, and I go, oh, so I'm not sure yet. So let me do one. Then I'd stop and I go, and I do the same joke again, but third punchline. The third time, and then the audience would start laughing at the fact that I started the joke. And then the punchline was that funny, but the fact that I did this joke that was about a guy with no legs who used to date my mom, and I did 5 puns about him not having legs. The crowd would just start laughing at that. So I kind of like that. I don't want to keep repeating a joke, but I like exhausting punchlines, or at least details, or like little throw-in jokes, to the point where I know which ones work and which ones don't. Because I hate when you try it once and go, didn't work, and you fucking scrap it. I'd rather have a bunch in there than pull them out.
Yeah, that's why say something like the show get off to a slow start.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's like
you gotta do the fucking shitty laughs. You gotta be like ratings are downs.
No, I don't know why,
someone will get mad at you for that joke. I promise you.
That's fine. Like, get mad at this.
Like, my kid has Down syndrome. Like, is he also a cop?
Yeah. We're taking him downtown.
Downtown.
Going downs. That's it. You're going down. Freeze, and they start tagging each other.
Freeze. Nah, you're it. Just run away.
The action. I don't know the rest of the word. No, yeah, the farther you go, they're gonna get mad. But that's the whole point. I don't know. I love people who get mad at this fake cancel culture right now. They're not enjoying it the way you're supposed to. I love that at any time now. It feels like you're Bill Hicks. It feels like you're fucking, you're Lenny Bruce. You're up there saying something, and everyone's like, you could get in trouble. It's like, really? Yeah. For what?
I had that. They're like, you're pretty brave for saying that shit. I'm like, I'm fucking around. I'm just saying racist shit.
Yeah, well, me too. I mean, I do that as well, but it's like, you do everything. But it's just like, it's so funny that they're just, people are in that state. It's like, it's all silly. It's silliness. It's like, I'm up here to make light of things. It's like, you can't make fun of that. You do at home. You've never, no one in the history of ever has ever been to their school prom and then watched the retarded couple dance and really thought it was sweet. Fuck you. You didn't. You were
good for him.
I hope they fuck. Like, that's the first.
Yeah, that's. I've had that.
Yeah, because it's funny. It's not because you want to see the hot sex. It's like, you're that person. Just allow that person to be out there. You're not saying you have to be a terrible person, but just stop pretending like you're something that you're not. You're only outraged because you think everyone else is going to think something of you. No one's thinking of you. If they were, your face would be on the poster, not mine, bitch. Just sit down. You're just the ugly lady who got brought to a place where you have to be quiet.
Dun, dun.
Dun, 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 dun. Every time I start doing that, though, I start going into that Rolling Stone song of like, let's spend the night together. It sounds like that too. Like, dun, 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 let's spend the night. I don't have another song, but it's like, I think after this though, I've just got to exhaust the retarded.
This might be the peak.
Well, now I'm working on a stupid little book thing too, like a short story thing that I'm calling it Rewards with a capital RE, but it's about when I used to work at Big Lots and using the idea of there's a serial killer and everyone thinks it's a guy who works there who slept with 5 women that used to shop there, where you find out it's just the special needs guy who gets all the rewards numbers and they wouldn't sign up for him. So he gets their address and phone number.
Oh, it's a Rain Man. He knows all their
no, but because I worked with a guy for real that all our employee numbers, all 20 employees, you never had to give him your employee number. Like, he just knew it to get your discount.
Hell
It's a
yeah.
9-digit number. And he just knew them all. But then it was funny because everyone's like, oh, that's amazing. I'm like, yeah, but he also can't tie his shoe. So
Lord
it's like,
giveth and the Lord taketh.
yeah, it's real weird what they can do. What they can do. It's like, but now I should use the word challenge. I don't like this anymore. Do you think like this retards got mad at the Spaceship Challenger for being the one that blew up? Oh, they named one retarded one, and that's the one that goes kablooey.
No, I don't. I feel like they were upset, but just because it was loud.
Yeah, yeah, because there's so many of them in Florida too. They're like, ah.
Dude. Florida's pro wrestling capital of the world. Of course there are.
Pro wrestling and tiger alligator wrestling, whatever. You can wrestle something that's not that bright. It's in Florida.
You can wrestle something orange and scaly,
Yeah.
whether it be a man or an animal.
Hulk Hogan or the bear named Hulk Hogan. Either one. But anything else to add to your joke or anything like that, or anything else?
Not really. I think it'd be cool though. Maybe if it turns out like he was like super badass, you know what I mean? Like there was like a way to like test it.
Yeah.
Like I thought about that too. Like, oh, if I throw a rock at this dude, he should be able to like fuck it.
Or how crazy would it be a couple years later, a documentary comes out about the man who knew too much for real, and it really was this guy.
It was him.
And he was trying to give you the secret.
He's trying to teach me a secret move.
And the secret move is
it's trying to teach me a secret move in the bathroom by himself.
The secret move is trying to learn the secret move before someone dies, and you're pushing yourself. He was passing this on to you, and you didn't realize, holy shit, I'm the new Highlander or whatever.
Oh yeah, you just watched Highlander, didn't you?
So bad. Oh my god, that's so bad. I hated it.
I want to do that. There's another Mike O'Donnell in Philly that does comedy, and I want to cut his head off and see if I get stronger.
Yes, I did that when I gathered all the Pat Oates Unite on Facebook years ago, and I said, I am the greatest. I want you all to know what the greatest version of our name is doing. It's me. And they're like fuck off. A lot of them left the group. They didn't think it was gonna be me just talking shit. It's like, fuck you. All right, Mike, where can people follow you? Check out your podcast, all that fun stuff.
At Mike OD Comedy on Instagram and Twitter, at A Boy in His Fridge on Instagram. We just put out our 100th episode. Check that out.
Congratulations.
Fun times.
Are you always doing one a week?
Lately, it's been like one every 2 weeks,
right.
But I'm going to try and keep it back to one a week.
No, I'm saying that's even more impressive, because if you were like, we do 5 a week, like, all right, do whatever.
No. We do basically one a week. But we were going to try and do like a live episode, and like some shit didn't work out. So it's like, all right, well, let's just do it.
I will, here's some advice. Don't do it.
Don't do a live episode?
I've done them. I mean, you mean live in front of an audience, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to hear an episode in front of 3 people in the crowd?
Well, here's the problem. If you get 3 people in the crowd, they're probably 3 people who know the podcast, so at least it's fun. I've done them where I had my other pod before with Bobby, when I had another one, Pat Oates' Sad podcast, and we did one at Mohegan Sun, and they sold tickets like it was a show. And I would do is it was almost like in a Kill Tony type way, just to make it a little bit different.
Yeah.
At the end, I let some comics go, but I critiqued them instead of shitting on them. Kind of like helped them out with and give them some advice. A couple of, for the most part, we had guests on first, and we just talked shit and had fun, did whatever. But the people in the audience had no idea what my podcast was. And the people listening at home didn't want to hear me overly explain what my podcast was, because they know what it is. So I was trying to do both things. Like, I was trying to do a lot of crowd work so it could be entertaining, but also try to keep it so it was kind of the same narrative as the podcast. We're talking shit about jokes or whatever, this, that, and that, whatever, but also make it so the audience is like, what is this? I thought we were at a comedy show. So it becomes a lot of work, and you get stressed out by it.
I didn't think about that at all, but that makes sense.
If you do get a crowd and they don't know what the show is, how do you make it entertaining but also worth the other while? You know what I mean? So
yeah, true.
Which it doesn't matter, because you put out the 100th one, then you have a more fun one when you're back in the studio, aka your house, and then do your thing. But like, you could do it that way too. But you really be doing your 100th episode as a thing of like trying to get new people to listen. But would they listen because they were hoping they could hear themselves yelling?
Yeah.
We actually had people sing karaoke on it. We had the club do the karaoke. We just did whatever we could to get people like to pay attention a little bit. They're unlistenable now. If I ever go back to them, like, oh, it's just rough. So
Yeah, it was just a little idea, but I don't really think it should be a live thing. But I thought it'd be cool to be like, oh yeah, let's try it out.
it was fun, and we did make a couple bucks. That's the only time we ever made any money off the podcast. So I was happy to get some of the door. So these people came to it, and you have a following enough up there where people might go to it. But I'm just saying the audience has to have a clue what it is, and you hope that wherever you're doing it, that they at least put on the website whatever. Hey, this is a live podcast. It isn't a comedy show. So if you're buying tickets to watch a regular comedy show, don't be bitchy. You know what I mean? Say whatever. Because the club first time they didn't really do that. They just kind of put my face on it. And they thought it was me and other people on the show. Then it wasn't that. So the next time we had to make sure to put a whole write up of what it was and do all that. So there you go. For people who want to do live podcast, you just got to add a treat. Not only did you learn about writing jokes, you just learned how if you're egotistical enough to think people will care about your podcast and want to do it live like me and Mike, you too can live your dreams. So that's it. Perfect. Mike, thanks so much for being on. I appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
If you like Mike, go watch him say horrific things with me on many episodes of the POS podcast. The worst things are always on. I was thinking of releasing that one that we did with Frank. Where we said
Cool Uncle.
No, what?
Cool Uncle.
I was thinking that now that Frank's not on it, Cool Uncle should just be out there.
I don't think Frank was on that episode. I think it was just me, you, and Bobby.
Oh yeah, he was on the one after we explained it after. Yeah, you're right. So yeah, I think I'm gonna put out Cool Uncle this week. I think people.
Oh man.
It was fun. I don't care. I enjoyed Cool Uncle.
Yeah, I had a good time.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Mike. I'll talk to you.
All right, brother. Thank you.
And goodbye.